Hey there, welcome to Millennium Milestone Presents, a site dedicated to storytelling in books, movies, video games, and other exciting genres, sponsored by Temu, offering prescriptions of Xanax. The Asterisk Avengers have arrived in theaters, and boy do I have a lot to say about this film. I can't even begin to point out some of these somewhat interesting things, if I could even say that, but before I pop a pill or two, please take the time to like, share, and subscribe, and give this channel a chance to prove that I am actually mentally stable. Just maybe. So we start off in the beginning of the film with Yelena being tasked with a mission to clean up and eliminate a target. 2 cameos later, we get into a shootout with 2 other characters from previous films we don't remember or had to do some serious homework and watch previous films such as Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's soon discovered that all 3 participants have been set up to kill each other or put in the shredder to be eliminated by their not-so-scary Why Should I Care's girl boss, played by dry and humorless Julia Dreyfus, who doesn't give off anything entertaining other than a gag reflex. And then we meet our other villain, Bob. No, not that Bob from work, or that Bob your neighbor, or Bob you were yelling at on the highway for cutting you off. This is a different Bob. Meet Marvel's answer to Homelander. Turns out that Bob is not as normal as he seems to be, even though he's quirky and mentally off, but that's not even registered on the minds of the other 3, as they fight their way to get out of this trap and make it to safety. On to other meaningless plots, you got Bucky Barnes, or should I say Congressman Barnes, who gets intel from a diversity hire whose name I don't care to remember, telling him about dry, humorless girl boss' not-so-intelligent plan to eliminate incriminating evidence about Marvel's financial spend on Brave New World. Project Sentry, also known as Bob. He pulls his bionic arm out of the dishwasher and off he goes to the races to get that evidence. So that's the setup for the film. I'm not going to spoil anything until later in this review, so hang in there. I'm going to start on getting on some things that I did actually like. So don't take it like I'm going to trash the film, but there are some good things. So let's get started. Positives. Sentry is absolutely done right as a comic book character and even a character on screen. In fact, I would argue he's the standout of this film. Portrayed by Louis Pullman, he gives a convincing performance as a man with deep trauma and mental psychosis. Bucky Barnes, played by real Captain America, in my opinion, Sebastian Stan, does good in his role, though unfortunately it's kind of minimized by being a politician rather than a superhero in this film. It's clear that the focus is on Yelena, which leads to my first criticism of the film. Like Yelena, the characters that are introduced in this film are characters you really would have had to do your homework on. You have to have watched either Disney Plus shows or have watched every MCU film leading to this. To be fair, when the first Avengers movie was set up, they had lead-up films that helped you to get to know these characters, but however, it's relegated to simple, single-title characters. For instance, John Walker's story is tied to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you didn't watch that show, you're guessing from nuances in the movie who he is. Same with Ava, aka Ghost, who appeared only in Ant-Man and the Wasp 7 years ago. Red Guardian, another humorless character that I don't care to quote any of his jokes, was just in Black Widow 5 years ago. So connecting these characters is a bit tougher. Oh, and don't bother with Taskmaster. We'll get into that much later. Or, you know what? Let's get to that now in just one simple statement. And this is an actual spoiler, so you might want to click away in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click away. Taskmaster's dead.
I've disappointed you.
Humor in the past few MCU films has been a problem. The movie tries to play to the same beat of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and the comic relief is just pitiful. There was not a single joke that got me at all, but instead it was jarring and took you out of the serious moments that needed to stay in tone much longer. As for the climax, I understand the messaging in this film was about mental health and would have worked if the focus was just on Bob. But instead, the film spends way too much time on every character being broken or mentally ill or having some mental issue of some sort, when Bob was just enough for this film to get that point across. I will admit, with one scene from Bob, there was a tender moment that actually did pull on my heartstrings a bit, but as a moment. That moment, however, doesn't do anything to resolve the plot of the entire film, which leads us to where we're going to be entering now. Spoiler territory. Click away. You have been warned. So as revealed earlier, Bob is the Sentry, and he's a superpowered being that basically has the power of 1,000 exploding suns. In other words, he's absolutely too powerful for anyone to take on. So to resolve this issue of defeating the Sentry or what's actually controlling him, known as the Void, without the help of, say, Thor or Hulk, basically, there's a hug-off. No, I'm not kidding. The characters actually hug Bob with all their love and affection and will away the Void. That's the ending of the film for that part of the plot. Basically, they copied the ending of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, which at least that ending, there was a little bit of a plausible reason that worked, but here, I'm supposed to be convinced that a simple hug, or in this case, a group hug, and this Void, which is, at least by definition, is a sentient being with its own will, can be completely willed away because you hugged Bob. Group hug, everyone! To add more insult to the injury on the ending, you finally have the team confront Allegra and Valentine de Fontaine, the not-so-scary bad guy of the film, and what a mouthful of a name that is, by the way, only to go through a curtain call, and lo and behold, this is how you get your introduction to, and you named it, you guessed it, the New Avengers! Cue the music. But that's not all. There's more. If you stuck around for the post-credits scene, you're getting your money's worth with this film. You not only get to find out that these actually are the Avengers, not the Pee Wee Soccer Thunderbolts, you also get to find out the ending to, guess what? The Fantastic Four movie. So yeah, that really took the wind out of my sails for the next movie I was going to watch in July, but thank you, Marvel. I really wanted to know what happens in Fantastic Four before I get to see the movie. I was really aching for that. The other thing that I noticed with this film is that it tries to do a sort of reverse take of what the first Avengers movie tried to accomplish. While I do appreciate there's definitely something missing with these characters to stand out on the same level as the OG Avengers. Joss Whedon crafted a story that managed to keep you invested in each of these characters with deep story plots. These characters in the Thunderbolts are just characters that tried to borrow the success of Guardians of the Galaxy by constant quip after annoying quip to keep it all entertaining. But I think that kind of gag has run its course. The first Avengers movie had its gags or quips, but it was done well by an actor who knew how to add lines on the fly and a talented director in Joss Whedon of Buffy the Slayer fame. I would still give this film praise for being more conventional than Captain America Brave New World. But it's just above that and not much else. All in all, as a standalone film, you might get entertained, you might not, depending on what kind of film goer you are. I rated this film as above mid, just under excellent. If more was done with Sentry and we had an actual villain in this film, I would have given it much more praise. But unfortunately, that's as far as I'm willing to go in terms of a rating for this film. So those are my thoughts for today on the film, and if you're going to go and see it, please let me know what you thought and put your comments in about it as well, what you thought, if it was good, great, or excellent, or maybe just god-awful. Like, share, and subscribe, and you best better believe I'll be back.